Thank you very much.
All right. All right. Let's get right to the questions. We'll start with Paul Hamilton from WGR Sports. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Kevin, congratulations on your pick here. How do you look at this pick? I mean, there are a lot of defensemen that have been talked about in this thing. You have some good young defensemen on your team right now. So how do you look at this pick? Is it still going to be, in your mind, you take the best guy available, or might you try to, look at the forward position with the good young defensemen that you have?
Yeah, I think it's critical, Paul, to a couple things. One, best player available, certainly. And also not just about who may be the best player now, you're looking to project ultimately who the best player becomes. So, you're doing both of those. So, for us, we need to improve in every area. So we're certainly not going to focus on a position or of need. We're looking to, definitely take the best player and the player that we project out to become, like Ronnie Francis even said in the interview, you're looking at guys that, what are they going to be like at 22, 23 years old as well.
Thanks a lot, Paul. Next question comes from Mike Moriali of NHL.com. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Kevin, congratulations. So Owen Power, the University of Michigan, 6'6", 213, mobile. He's considered to be one of the top options in this draft. Have you watched him at all, Kevin, at the World Championship? I'm curious what you think of him there. And is he in the running as possibly a top choice for you?
Yeah, I have watched him. I'll certainly be watching a lot more of him and others here in the coming weeks. Obviously he's had a good year at Michigan, and he's played some big minutes over on Team Canada in the world. So what's exciting about this draft, I think there's a number of players to really watch and dig into, and I'm looking forward to those upcoming meetings with our staff and to really debate. And I said this a little bit earlier, but I really enjoy the amateur process. I enjoyed the draft last year. I enjoy kind of going through it and projecting out players and kind of challenging scouts to what they see and what they like or what they don't like. And so I'm looking forward to doing that over the coming weeks. And it's nice to have number one where, you're doing that, knowing that you can take the player you ultimately land on, where I remember last year, you're trying to kind of wonder what the board's going to look like. And, you're guessing to some extent who could be there at your pick.
Thanks, Mike. Next question comes from John Warrow of the Associated Press. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Kevin. John Warrow.
Hey, John.
Just given that we've had some real difficult Zoom calls over this past year, so congratulations on this. What is it? You don't want to be in this position, but the fact that you win, you get a win after how difficult this season was. What does that feel like?
Yeah, it's pretty accurately sums up kind of a little bit of what I was thinking before. It was a challenging season, a lot of adversity. We were in the position we were in, and you certainly don't want to be there, but that's the reality. So then what comes out of it, knowing that, the odds were the highest that you end up 3, you kind of understand that going in. So to have this fall our way, to be in this position, it's makes some of the things we went through this year, feel a little bit better about it. But no, it's a huge opportunity for our franchise to improve. I feel like this is a really big step, something we needed, and excited about it.
Thank you, John. Next question comes from Andrew Knoll of the New York Times. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, Kevin, congratulations on the big lotto win. And I want to know what an asset like this does for your position. I mean, on one hand, listen to the exit interviews, it sounds like there's a little restlessness. Does this give you something back to take to the group and say, hey, we've got big reinforcements on the way? And then on the flip side, if there is something enticing, does having another building block give you a little bit more confidence to explore it?
Yeah, I think it's all the above, right? There's only one team gets the number 1 overall pick. It can change the kind of the course of your franchise. There's a lot of good players in this draft, so we're excited about that. We're excited to get to the point where we feel comfortable when that draft rolls around, the name we're going to call. But for sure, it's energizing to the players in the room. I'm sure if you asked our players, they're excited right now. It's energizing to our fan base. It's energizing just to the people that work in this organization that love this place so much. So it's all of the above, and it's it's a big, I'll say, step in the right direction of where we're headed. And, we're excited to add this young next great Buffalo Sabre player to our franchise.
Thank you, Andrew. Once again, if you want to ask a question, just click raise hand at the bottom of your screen. We have time for a couple more. Let's go back to Mike Moriali of NHL.com. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah. So Kevin, how difficult will it be navigating this draft with so much uncertainty on players who haven't played this season? And as a second part to that, how important do you believe it was to get a chance to watch a lot of these players one final time at the under-18s in Dallas last month?
Yeah, the under-18s was great. I was there for about a week and learned a lot about a lot of different players, not just at the top of the draft, Michael. I mean, you're looking at a lot of different players. So I think it was great for myself and our scouts, and obviously there were a ton of NHL personnel there. In terms of difficulty, I think the reality of the situation is every team's in the exact same boat. Every team is trying to figure out certain players that maybe didn't get to play as much, or they were in a second division over in Europe, and how are you looking at them compared to what they would be like if they had played in, say, the Ontario Hockey League? So it's interesting, it's different. But I also challenged our scouts and our organization. I think it's also an opportunity. It's an opportunity to really maybe be in a position to find some players that maybe in another year wouldn't have been there. So that's the way we're looking at it.
Thanks, Mike. Let's go back to Paul Hamilton. Go ahead, Paul.
Sorry, Kevin, as you as your scouts look at this draft, is this a draft that still needs some development with the guys that you guys have looked at and seen? Or do you see some players that maybe can contribute right away? So is it more development, or are there some guys that you think can contribute right away?
Yeah, I'd say, Paul, honestly, it's probably both. There are clearly players that can step in, depending on your team situation. And, that's every team's individual with that. But one thing for us, whether we have the first pick, second pick, or third pick is we're not going to put a player in a position we don't feel is best for their development. So whether that means on our team or wherever, somewhere else, that's okay. We're not going to rush a player, and we're certainly not going to pick a player we think that has the best chance to play right away. We want the player we think is going to be the best player in the long run. So that's really a critical differentiator, as we kind of look at this draft.
Thank you, Paul. And we'll take one last question from Michael Pakala of Hockey Buzz. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Kevin. Recently, and congratulations, by the way, on the winning the lottery. Recently, Jason Carmanos came on board. How do you feel your scouting department is heading into the draft?
Well, I have to say, I'm proud of the way our scouts for the last year have worked diligently. It was a different year. The guys have a lot of viewings in through video and reports, and so this isn't something that's caught them off guard. Certainly bringing in Jason with his experience, his expertise overseeing scouting departments before is a great add for us. He and I have talked a lot in the last couple of months here about this draft in particular, and looking forward to our upcoming scouting meetings. But I loved it. I love the part. I love asking questions. I love debating with our scouts. I love challenging in a good way, in a healthy way, all with the intention of how do we find the best player. And that's an exciting process to go through.
Thanks, Michael. Well, Kevin, thanks for taking the time tonight. Congratulations once again, and enjoy this exciting summer coming up.
Thanks, everyone.